Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome not to the Prince podcast, but welcome to the Purple Rain Minute. This is the show where we watch the movie Purple Rain in 1 minute segments, and then we talk about those 1 minutes. So yes, this is going to be a long podcast in terms of, longevity, because I think this movie is about an hour and a half or so. So anyway, of course, my name is Michael Dean. Joining me today is Mr. Big Sexy and Saxer. How are you?
I am well. Ready to get my film aficionado on.
All right. Also joining me is Mr. Ant Pooh. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing good. Ready to take it all the way back.
All right. And last but not least, joining us is Miss Kanisa. How are you?
I'm well, ready to get this started. And I'm also a little hungry, so yeah.
All right. Well, so this is how this thing works. We watch a minute of the movie, and then we talk about it. So since this is episode 1, if you want to sort of watch along with us or, watch this segment before we do, of course, you want to start at the top, right at the Warner Brothers logo, and then we watch the first 60 seconds of the movie. So since this first minute, there's not a lot going on. Here's what I want to do here is, as we talk about it, if we can keep it brief, but just tell us, when was the first time you saw Purple Rain? Whether it was at the theaters or it was on home video or TV, whatever, that would help sort of set the stage. So real quick, I'll just say the first time I saw it was opening day when it came out. It was the talk of the school. I've said this many times. Had to go see it that night. 1984, blown away. I wasn't even a super hardcore Prince fan at the time, but after seeing that movie, it was I was like, okay, I gotta pay attention. And for those who remember, back in this time, this was the world of Michael Jackson and all of that. So there was already such a dominating presence, but then Prince just came through and just knocked it out the park, man. This movie, as we already know, is an absolute classic. So, yeah, I was blown away from day one seeing the movie, and just the imagery of everything took me away. Big Sexy, when did you first see it?
I saw it opening weekend in 1984. I was barely 20 when I saw it. No, still 19. And I remember sitting in the theater, and as it started, you hear that first chord of the band, and it's dark, and it's like you feel that tingling like you're doing a roller coaster. It was really cool. I'm like, okay, this is real. This is gonna happen, because I was a fan already from about Controversy, and really jumped on in 1999. And so I'm watching this, and like you said, that was really during the domination of Michael Jackson. Madonna was really starting to break big. Springsteen was out there, but here comes Prince. He's like, well, I have a film. What do you three have? Step aside. And he came in there and shoehorned his way in. And looking at that first scene, what stands out now is a little pinball shot, and my man doing the mixing in his paisley gloves. I'm like, okay, do what you do.
Hilarious.
But it was really good anticipatory excitement in the air, though. It was really a lot of fun.
Yes, and just to date it, so that was July 27th, 1984. Man, that's such a long time ago, but I remember very vividly. Aunt Pooh, when was the first time you saw Purple Rain?
Believe it or not, 1985. I was in the living room of my aunt and uncle's home, and they had the VHS cassette tape of this. I love my mom, and she'll admit she did the best that she could with us. But yeah, I don't think an 8-year-old should have been watching Purple Rain. And I'm going to give her a double shot. One, I shouldn't have been watching it, and then she low-key cock-blocked me, because when Apollonia decided to purify herself, she told me to get out the room. So
Wow.
But for me, I had no total concept. I had been hearing Prince from my cousins. She was in high school. My brother, he was just getting to high school. So, you know, my whole perception was Michael Jackson and MJ and Motown 25. So I think I had heard Little Red Corvette in 1999 by that time. And here it was, it's like, yeah, Prince, he has a movie. And I said, all right, you know, it's a movie. I'm going to watch a movie. So let's watch the movie.
All right. Kanisa, when was the first time you saw Purple?
Yeah, so I'm young. So this movie came out before I was born. I was born 85. So actually on the anniversary of Around the World in a Day, April 22. But anyway, so I didn't really see this movie until I was way older because my parents were really, you know, you're not seeing stuff like that. And we were very much a Michael Jackson family too. So Prince was kind of pushed to the side. And so I just need to listen to him. So I was probably like 15 or 16 when I saw this for the first time. And it was probably like on VH1 or something like that. And I remember thinking like, so did people really dress like this back then? Or was this for the movie? I had so many questions. And like you guys have heard, I kind of feel like Purple Rain Prince is a little bit corny, but I do like the music a lot. So this will be an interesting experience to talk with you guys who were there in context.
All right, I'm going to let that slide. Okay.
Hilarious. So, all right. So, you know, the first minute here, you know, starts off with the, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, revolution guy comes in and, you know, you see the person on the mixing board, but just the sight of Prince, you know, with the dearly beloved, I think that's that image is so etched in my mind of Prince, particularly this era of Prince, Purple Rain. And then when the title card just comes up, to me, I just like, I don't know, I just think that is so dope when that happens. And I remember seeing it for the first time, not knowing what the hell to expect. Like, you know, just never seen this type of imagery before. I was just like, okay, what is this? This guy is about to give a sermon or something. It was just mesmerizing to me off the top because it was so unknown to me. And even watching it now, I still like, it just makes me like, okay, I'm about to get prepared for something. You know, the music, and it's like, this guy comes up with the smoke. So just breathtaking to me from the jump. Does anybody else have any sort of thoughts on this first minute of footage?
Well, it's like you said, I agree completely because for me, I hadn't really seen him at this point. I had just seen videos and snippets on TV here and there, so I didn't really know what to expect in a live setting. And so when the smoke comes up and he's in silhouette, I'm sitting there watching like, okay, here we go. But I will say this. If you notice on his jacket, the right shoulder had the little spiky things. Oh, yeah, you couldn't tell me. I was spiked up, ready to go. And, you know, again, it was just like, here we go. What are we going to see? Don't know. But all we know at this point, we see a lot of wild makeup and my man in the paisley gloves. What is going on here? The little lace gloves, that is. And let's go. Let's get this happening. And just, you know, held on tight, ready to go.
Yes. Ant, do you got any observations?
For me, it'll always be the ladies and gentlemen, the revolution. And for me, I always thought that was so cool. And I said that if I ever became a wrestler or somebody famous, I want someone to imitate that voice. Hey, what can I say?
Now it's coming. Now you know this.
Hilarious. You know, the other thing too to point out is the people that they sort of intercut with. You know, they have a different sort of a look. Looking back on this, I see that it's heavily the '80s, but now looking at it as a 47-year-old black man, I'm like, if I was looking at this, I'm like, you would think it was some kind of a like rock club, or because I don't think they show any people of color. I'm not trying to shift the conversation, but they don't show any people of color at the beginning, which is interesting to me now. I never really paid attention to it, but I'm like, it gives definitely gives a feeling that this is, you know, a rock and roll type of establishment, maybe almost like a new wavy type of thing.
Yeah, that's like more new wave.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Go ahead.
But what was Minneapolis like that? Like, did they have people who were into that. I mean, I know to some degree, of course, that was a United States thing, but in, white bread, pretty middle of the road Minneapolis, was the level of trend like that with the makeup and everything like that? Anyone know?
Well, I think it was a trend. I would assume it was, as most of America was on that tip at that time. That fashion, very much the 80s. Reminded me of MTV and things of that nature. Looking at it now, I would think Billy Joel is about to walk out or something. like white wedding.
Billy Idol.
Oh, there you go. See, they all look like Tyson. Hilarious. I'm just doing how they do me. But anyway,
they all look alike.
There you go. But no, it's just interesting to see that, and that may sort of date the movie a little bit to me. By seeing that, but I have no problem with it. I mean, I just think it's very interesting, and then it cuts to Prince sort of like getting prepared, right? So doing his makeup and stuff. So it's just an interesting thing. Lastly, Kanisa, any other thoughts from you on this?
Yeah, you guys mostly got it. That glove moment just makes me laugh every time. Like, really though, is this for the movie, or you just wearing a glove at work like that?
All right. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this was just the first minute of Purple Rain. This is our setup episode. We are definitely going to be doing more because there's one coming right after this. So get on board with us. Check us out at podcastjuice.net. Also, you can find us on YouTube at go to YouTube and look up the Prince Podcast. We'll come up, so definitely check us out. We will be right back with another minute of the Purple Rain Minute Podcast. We'll see you working like a job.
Then I say then I say